pleased to announce the first high school from Bochnia with the play Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw, a gloriously witty adaptation of the Broadway musical about Professor Henry Higgins, who takes a bet from Colonel Pickering that he can transform unrefined, dirty, cockney flower girl Eliza Doolittle into a lady, and fool everyone into thinking she really is one too. He does, and that young aristocrat, Freddie Ainsford Hill, falls madly in love with her. But when Higgins takes all credit and forgets to acknowledge her efforts, Eliza angrily leaves him for Freddie, and suddenly Higgins realizes he's grown accustomed to her face and can't really live without it. Let's see what happens.
London, 11:15 p.m. St. Paul's Church, Covent Garden, Vegetable Market.
I'm getting chilled to the bone. What can Freddie be doing all this time? He's been gone 20 minutes.
Not so long, but he ought to have got as a cab by this.
If Freddie had a bit of gumption, he would have got one at the theater door.
What could he have done, poor boy?
Other people get cabs. Why couldn't he? Well, haven't you got a cab?
There's not one to be had for love or money.
Oh, Freddie, there must be one. You can't have tried.
How tiresome. Do you expect us to go and get one ourselves?
Oh, very well. I'll go.
Now then, Freddie, look where you're going, dear.
Sorry.
There's manners for you! 2 pieces of tulips thrown into the mat!
How do you know that my son's name is Freddie, pray?
Oh, is your son, is he? It's no better to spoil a poor girl flower to run away without pain? Will you pay me for that? Do nothing of the sort, mother. The idea.
Please allow me, Clara. Have you any pennies?
No, I've nothing smaller than 6pence. I can give you change for a tenner, kind lady. 6pence from... wait, really, Mama, you might have spared Freddie that.
Sure.
Oh, sir, is there any sign of it stopping?
I'm afraid not. It started worse than ever about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, dear.
If it's worse, it's a sign it's nearly over. So, cheer up, Captain, and buy a flower of a poor girl.
I haven't any change. I'm sorry.
I can give you change, Captain.
For a sovereign? I've nothing less.
Gone. Do buy a flower of me. I can change half a crown. Take this for 2pence.
Now don't be troublesome. There's a good girl. I really haven't any change. Oh, stop. This will happen. It didn't used to.
Thank you, sir.
You be careful. Give him a flower for it. There's a law behind taking down every blithe word you're saying.
I ain't done nothing wrong by speaking to the gentleman. I've a right to sell the flowers if I keep off the curb. I take my Bible off. I never said a word.
Oh, shut up. Do I look like a policeman?
Then, what did you take down my words for? How do you know? Why don't you write my words? You just showed me. What you wrote about me? What's that? That ain't proper writing. I can't read that.
I can't. Cheer up, Captain, and bow your flower of a poor girl.
Oh, it's because I called him Captain? I meant no harm. Oh, sir, don't humiliate a child with me for a word like that.
Charge! I make no charge. Really, sir. If you are a detective, you need not begin protecting me against molestation by young women until I ask. Anybody could see that the girl meant no harm.
I'm a good girl. I am.
Do you know where I come from?
Hoxton.
Well, who said I didn't? Blimey, you know everything. You do.
Ain't no cold meddle with me.
Of course he ain't. Don't you stand it from him? See here. What can have you know about people would never to middle of with you?
Let him say what he likes. I don't want no tract with him.
You take us for dirt under your feet, don't you? Tell him where he come from. Cheltenham, Harrow, Cambridge, and India.
Quite right. May I ask, sir, do you do it for your living in a music hall?
I've thought of that. Perhaps I shall someday.
He's no gentleman. He ain't to interfere with a poor girl.
What on the earth is Freddy doing? I shall get pneumonia if I stay in the straw any longer.
Elscott.
Will you please keep your impertinent remarks to yourself? It's quite fine now, Clara. We can walk to a motor bus. But the cab, oh, how tiresome.
Poor girl. Hard enough for her to live without being worried and tidy.
How do you do it, if I may ask?
Simply phonetics, the science of speech. That is my profession, also my hobby. Happy is a man who can make a living by his hobby. You can spot an Irishman or a Yorkshireman by his brogue. I can place any man within 2 miles. I can place him within 2 streets in London.
Ought to be ashamed of himself, unmanly coward!
But is there a living in that?
Oh yes, quite right. A woman who utters such disgusting and depressing words has no right to be anywhere, no right to live. Remember that you are a human being with the soul and the divine gift of articulate speech. That your native language is the language of Shakespeare and Milton and the Bible. And don't sit there crooning like a bilious pigeon.
Oh, oh, oh!
Heavens, what a sound! Oh, oh, oh!
Gone!
You see this creature with a curbstone English? The English that will keep her in the gutter to the end of her days? Well, sir, I could pass her off as a duchess in an ambassador's garden party. I could even get her a place as lady's maid or shop assistant, which requires better English.
What's that you say?
Yes, you squashed cabbage heap! You disgrace to the noble architecture of these columns! You incarnate insult to the English language! I could pass you off as the Queen of Sheba. Do you believe that, sir?
Of course I do. I am myself a student of Indian dialects.
Are you? Do you know Colonel Pickering, author of Spoken Saints?
I am Colonel Pickering. Who are you?
Henry Higgins, author of Higgins's Universal Alphabet.
I came from India to meet you.
I was going to India to meet you.
Where do you live?
27A Wimpole Street. Come and see me tomorrow.
I'm at the Carlton. Come with me now and let's have a job with some supper.
Buy a flower, kind gentleman. I'm sure for my lodging.
I really haven't any change. I'm sorry.
Liar, you said you could change half a crown. Good one and last. Hello? Where are the 2 ladies that were here?
They walked to the bathroom, the rain stopped.
And left me with a cup on my hands. Damnation!
Never mind, young man. I'm going home in a taxi. A taxi fare a new object to me.
Where to?
Buckingham Palace.
What do you mean, Buckingham Palace?
Don't you know where it is? In the Green Park, where the king lives. Goodbye, Freddy.
Goodbye.
A young woman asked to see you, sir.
A young woman? What does she want?
Well, sir, she says you'll be glad to see her when you know what she's come about. She's quite a common girl, sir. Very common indeed. I should have sent her away, only I thought perhaps you wanted her to talk into your machines. I hope I'm not done wrong. But, you see, such queer people sometimes...
It's all right, Mrs. Pierce. Has she an interesting accent?
Oh, something dreadful, sir, really. I don't know how you can take an interest in it.
Let's have her. Show her up, Mrs. Pierce.
Very well, it's for you to say.
This is rather a bit of luck. I'll show you how I make records.
This is the young woman, sir.
Why, this is the girl I jotted down last night. She's no use. I've got all the records I want of the Listen Grove lingo, and I'm not going to waste another cylinder on it. Be off with you, I don't need you.
Don't be so saucy. You ain't heard what I come for yet. Did you tell him I giving lessons? Not him? I heard him say so. Well, I ain't come here to ask any compliment. And if my man is not good enough, I can go elsewhere.
Good enough for what?
Good enough for you. No, you know, don't you? I come to have lessons and to pay for them too. Make no mistake.
How much?
Whoa.
But
Don't I told you I'm bringing you business?
Maybe we should ask her to sit down. Shall we ask this baggage to sit down, or shall we throw her out the window?
I ain't to be called a beggar and I offered to pay like any lady.
But what is it you want?
I want to be a lady in a flower shop instead of selling at the corner of Tottenham Court Road. But they won't take me unless I could talk more genteel. He said he could teach me. Well, I'm here and I'm ready to pay him, not asking any favor. And he treats me as if I was dead.
How can you be such a foolish, ignorant girl as to think you could afford to pay Mr. Higgins?
Why shouldn't I? I know what lessons cost as well as you do, and I'm ready to pay.
How much?
Now you're talking. I thought you'd come of it when you saw a chance of getting back a bit what you checked at me last night. You'd had a drop in, hadn't you?
Sit down.
Oh, if you're make a compliment of it.
Sit down!
Sit down, girl, do as you are told.
Won't you sit down?
Don't mind if I do.
What's your name?
Liza the Little.
Eliza, Elizabeth, Betsy and Bess. They went to the woods to get a bird's nest.
They found a nest with 4 eggs in it.
They took one apiece and left 3 in it.
Don't be silly!
You mustn't speak to the gentleman like that.
Well, why won't he speak sensible to me?
Come back to business. How much do you propose to pay me for the lessons?
Higgins, I'm interested. What about the ambassador's garden part? I'll say you're the greatest teacher alive if you make that good. I'll bet you all the expenses of the experiment you can't do it. And I'll pay for the lessons.
Oh, you're really good. Thank you, Captain.
It's almost irresistible. She's so deliciously low, so horribly dirty.
I ain't dirty. I wash my face and head before I can. I did.
Higgins, you're certainly not going to turn her head with flattery.
Oh, don't say that, sir. There's more ways than one of turning a girl's head. And nobody could do it better than Mr. Higgins, though he always mean it. I do hope, sir, you won't encourage him to do anything foolish.
What is life but a series of inspired follies? The difficulty is to find them to do. Never lose a chance. It doesn't come every day. I shall make a duchess of this draggle-tailed gutstein in 6 months. In 3 if she has a quick tongue and a good ear. I'll take her anywhere and pass her off as anything. Mrs. Pierce, take all her clothes and burn them. Ring up Whitley or somebody for new ones. Wrap around in brown paper till they come.
You're no gentleman. You're not to talk of such things. I'm a good girl. I am. And I know what the like of you are. I do.
We want none of your listen grove prudery here, young woman. You have to learn to behave like a duchess. Mrs. Pierce, take her away. If she gives you any trouble, wallop her.
No! I call the police. I will.
But I've no place to put her.
Put her in the dustbin.
Oh, come, Higgins. Be reasonable.
You must be reasonable, Mr. Higgins. Really, you must. You can't walk over everybody like this.
I walk over everybody. My dear Mrs. Pierce. My dear. I never had the slightest intention of walking over anyone. All I propose is that we should be kind to this poor girl. We have to help her to prepare herself for her new station in life. If I did not express myself clearly, it was because I didn't want to hurt her delicacy or yours.
Well, sir, did you ever hear anything like that?
Never, Mrs. Pierce. Never.
What's the matter?
Well, the matter is, sir, you won't encourage him to do anything foolish. You can't treat her as if you are picking up a pebble on the beach.
By George, Eliza, the streets will be strewn with bodies of men shooting themselves for your sake before I've done with you.
Nonsense, sir, you mustn't speak like that to her.
I'm going away. He's off his tongue. He is. I don't want no babies teaching to me.
Oh, indeed, I'm mad, am I? Well, Mrs. Pierce, you need an order the new clothes for her. Throw her out.
You got no right to touch me.
This way, please.
Oh, you have no feelings, pardon you. You don't care for nothing about yourself. Here, I've had enough of this. I'm going away. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought.
Have a chocolate, Eliza.
How do I know what might be done? I've heard of girls being dragged by the like of you.
Pledge your good faith. I eat one half, you eat the other.
I wouldn't have ate it only. I'm too lazy to take it out of my mouth.
Listen, Eliza. I think you said you came in a taxi.
Well, what do I do? I've as good a right to take a taxi as anyone else.
You have. And in future, you should have all the taxis you want. You shall go up and down and around the town in taxi every day. Think of that, Eliza.
You are tempting the girl. It's not right. She should think of the future. Come with me, Eliza.
Professor Higgins.
Here, good morning.
Morning. I come about a very serious matter.
Brought up in Hounslow, Mother Welsh, I should think. What is it you want, Doolittle?
I want my daughter. That's what I want. See?
Oh, of course you do. You're her father, aren't you? Oh, she's upstairs. Take her away at once.
Well, the truth is, I've taken a sort of fancy to you. And if you want the girl, I'm not so set on having her home back again. But what I might be open to an arrangement. Regarded in the light of a young woman, she's a fine, handsome girl. As a daughter, she's not worth her keep. So I tell you straight.
Well, do you mean that you would sell your daughter?
Not in a general way, I wouldn't. But to oblige a gentleman like you, I do a good deal, I assure you.
Well, I know the feeling, but it seems really hardly right.
Don't say that, and don't look at it that way. What am I? I ask you, what am I? I'm one of the undeserving poor, and if there's anything going, and I want to put in for a bit of it, it's always the same story. You're undeserving, so you can't have it.
I suppose we should give him a fiver.
He'll make bad use of it, I'm afraid.
Not me, so help me, I won't. Don't you be afraid that I'll save it and spare it and live idle on it. There won't be a penny left by Monday.
Pickering, if we listen to this man another minute, we shall have no convictions left. £5, I think you said.
Thank you kindly.
Say your alphabet.
I know my alphabet. Do you think I know nothing? I don't need to be taught like a child.
Say your alphabet.
Oh, well, if you put it like that. A, B, C, D.
This unfortunate animal has been locked up in school for 9 years at our expense to teach her to read and speak the language of Shakespeare and Milton. And the result is I, B, C, D, say A, B, C, D.
But I'm saying it. A, B, C.
Stop. Say a cup of tea.
A cup of tea.
Now put your tongue forward until it's squeezed against the top of your lower teeth. Now say, cup.
Come. Come.
By Jupiter, you've done it at the first shot. Now, do you think you could possibly say tea, not tie, mine? If you ever say bay, say day again, you shall be dragged round the room 3 times by the hair of your head. Tea, 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 tea.
I can't hear no difference except that it sounds more than tea like when you say
Well,
it.
if you can hear the difference, what the devil are you crying for? Think about it. Try to do it by yourself. Another lesson at 4:30 this afternoon. Off with you.
I couldn't go to bed. My head's too light to try to set it down. Sleep, sleep. I couldn't sleep tonight. Not for all the doers in the crowd. I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I never know what made it so exciting. I know it was my heart to fly. I only know when he began to dance with me. I could have danced, danced, danced all night. I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I never know what made it so exciting. I know it was my heart to fly. I only know when he began to dance with me. I could have danced, danced, danced all night.
Colonel Pickering, I don't understand. Do you mean that my son is coming to Ascot today?
Yes, he is, Mrs. Higgins. As a matter of fact, he's here.
Oh, what a disagreeable surprise. Ascot is usually the one place I can come to with my friends and not run the risk of seeing my son, Henry. Whenever my friends meet him, I never see them again.
He had to come, Mrs. Higgins. He's taking the girl to the annual embassy ball, and he wanted to try her out first.
What girl?
One night I went to the opera at Covent Garden. I met your son Henry, who in turn met Miss Doolittle, who now lives with Henry.
Lives with Henry? Is it a love affair?
Heavens no! She's a flower girl. He picked her up off Capstone.
A flower girl?
Yes, Mrs. Higgins. That's it. That's it precisely. Jolly good, Mrs. Higgins. Jolly good.
I saw Colonel Pickering and Henry, dear. I'm most provoked. I've heard you brought a common flower girl from Covent Garden to my box at Ascot.
It's all right, darling. She'll be all right. I taught her to speak properly. She's to keep to 2 subjects: everybody's health and the weather. Sort of, how do you do and...
And where's the girl now? Oh, Mrs. Ainsford here. Oh, Colonel Pickering, you're just in time for tea.
Thank you, Mrs. Higgins. May I introduce Miss Eliza Doolittle?
My dear Miss Doolittle.
How kind of you to let me come.
Mrs. Mrs. Ainsford here, Miss Dewitt. How do you do?
How do you do?
And Freddie Ainsford Hill.
How do you do?
How do you do? The first race was very exciting, Miss Dewitt. I'm so sorry you missed it.
Will it rain, do you think?
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain, but in Hertford, Hereford, and Hampshire, hurricanes hardly ever happen.
Ha ha ha! How fully funny!
What's wrong with that, young man? I bet I got this right.
Smashing!
I do hope we won't have any unseasonably cold spells. It brings on so much influenza, and our whole family is susceptible to it. The horse race.
I have a bet on number 7. I should be so happy if you would take it. You will enjoy the race ever so much more.
That's very kind of you.
His name is Dover.
Come on, Dover! Come on, Dover! Come on, Dover! Move your blooming ass!
I know you can. I told you you could. You never wondered, I suppose, whether I could get along without you.
Don't try to get around me. You have to.
And so I can't. Or any other soul on earth. But I shall miss you, Eliza. I've learned something from your idiotic notions. I confess it humbly and gratefully.
Well, you have my voice on your gramophone. When you feel lonely, you can turn it on. It's got no feelings to hurt.
I can't turn your soul on.
Oh, yeah, David, you can twist the heart in a girl as easy as some can twist her arm to hurt her. What am I to come back for?
For the fun of it. That's why I took you on.
And you may throw me out tomorrow if I don't do everything you want me to.
Yes, and you may walk out tomorrow if I don't do everything you want me to do.
And live with my father?
Yes, also flowers. Or would you rather marry Pickering?
I wouldn't marry you if you asked me, and you are nearer my age than what he is.
Then he is.
I talk as I like. You know my teacher now does not what I want, and don't you think it. I've always had chaps enough wanting me that way. Freddie Hill writes to me twice or 3 times again a day. Sheets and sheets. Freddie loves me, that makes him king enough for me. I'll go and be a teacher.
And what will you teach in heaven's name?
What you tell me? I teach phonetics.
Ha ha ha!
What a fool I was! What a dominated fool to think you were the air and sky! You're not the beginning and the end!
Eliza, you're magnificent! 5 minutes ago you were a millstone around my neck. Now you're a tower of strength, a consort battleship. I like you like this.
Goodbye, Professor Higgins. I shall not be seeing you again.
Mother! Mother!
What is it, Henry? What has happened?
She's gone.
Of course, dear. What did you expect?
What am I to do?
Do without, I suppose.
And so I shall. If the Higgins oxygen burns up in the lungs, let it seek some stuffiness that suits her. I can do without her. I can do without anybody. I have my own spark of divine fire.
Bravo, Eliza.
Damn, 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 damn! I've grown accustomed to her face. She almost makes the day begin. I've grown accustomed to the word she whispers night and noon. Her smiles, her frowns, her ups, her downs.